hand.
So we'll just sit here and chat.
We're on.
Where are we today? Richmond?
Yes.
Cool.
Good.
Good. So we're on.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome to Let's Run in Stokesley. Thanks, Shelli, for letting us use your shop and doing a special cheer charge late night opening. We'll look at the trainers later. We'll come in here.
Yeah,
this is great. So I'm going to use a bit of paper because I've got rubbish memory. So welcome to our first Facebook Live, or Instagram Live if you're over there. And we are in Stokesley at the Let's Run shop, which is the shop that Tony and Shelli opened 2 years ago.
Yep, nearly 2 years ago.
2 years ago, and love coming here. And Shelli's going to talk to us tonight about her incredible spine journey. How many miles, Shelli?
268
Yeah.
miles.
Did you do any extra bonus miles?
Definitely.
Yeah?
It's
Any
always
mad
good to
errors?
A couple of extra ones.
Yeah. So thanks for letting us come and talk to you. Do you want to show? Can we see your medal,
Yeah, of course you can.
please?
It's heavy.
Oh, wow! Here's something I'll never be getting. I think. So, wow, that is awesome. That's awesome. So we've collected a load of questions from lots of different people, and you've got our special party chairs out tonight, which is great.
Expensive chairs.
Yeah, got expensive chairs, but you know how much I weigh, so mine's reinforced, of course. So tell us, Shelli, why did you want to do the spine?
Okay, so it's always been on my list of things to do, but Tony entered me in it originally. I got up one morning to find he'd set a group message up with Carol, Morgan and Jim Mann to say I've entered Shelli. So that's the first, that was the first I knew of it as well when I got up, and a few messages on there. And then after Tony died, then that became a bit of a focus to try and turn it into a positive and think, well, if I'm going to run that way, it's meant to be awful, might be worth, people might think it's worthwhile sponsoring or donating. So that's why I did it.
So this is one of the questions actually. So it's a perfect lead in. So tell us a bit about Tony, and tell us about tell us about the charity that you were raising money for.
Okay, so Tony and I obviously opened the shop together. We knew each other for quite a while, but we were together 2.5 years, and then Tony took his own life July last year, 2018. So, which was a bit of a shock to everybody, including me, no pre-warning or anything. So when I researched charities for what to raise the money for, because obviously that was a totally new experience for me, I've not been involved in anything like that, so I looked for a charity that was relevant to what I'd experienced, so, and that was CALM, Campaign Against Living Miserably, which is for male suicide.
Okay.
So that's the one I chose.
And you've raised shed loads of money, haven't you? So how much has been raised at the minute?
It's over 28,000 and over 30,000 with gift aid.
Wow! So over 30,000, which is stunning. And if we can get anyone else now who's watching this, we'll mention it a couple of times. So how do you get to? Is it on the Just Giving page?
Yeah, it's on the Just Giving page. I'm a bit rubbish remembering the link, but I think it's something on the lines of Shelli at Let's Run, and I think if you type in my name, it comes up first, apparently. And I
imagine we can either, while this broadcast is going on or later on, we can put a link in somewhere. We can probably find someone who can put a link into the comments for us who's sat that side of the camera desperately trying not to be noticed. So we'll put a link in, but please give your money to it, because it's a bloody good charity, and it's a bloody good cause, and you know, I wanted to remember Tony tonight as well, to go you know, bless him, and well done you for doing it. So you raised shed loads before and quite a bit since as well. Yeah, that's gone really well. So how, you told us why you did the challenge, but so how did you go about preparing for that? I suspect your preparation's somewhat worse than mine.
I don't do things the normal way. So, well, I got a coach, so Lee Camp did my coaching, and that's a bit of a new thing for me as well, because I've run for 30 years and I've never experienced coaching, but I just didn't have time to learn in the business and doing things on my own, to running things at home, do things with horses, and to remember how to train. And then training's very different now to what it used to be, and when I was in the police and days off and things, I could train all day and it was easy, but I didn't have that option this time round.
So were you doing? So did Lee give you like a list of things to do?
Yeah, I wasn't the best pupil. I think I've probably one of the most difficult ones he's had to work with. All those strength exercises, I'm not very good doing that.
Okay, so what would, if you'd followed what Lee told you to do?
I've done brilliantly.
What, so kind of what would be an example week of what you should have done?
Doesn't matter how many times I get shown those exercises that you're meant to do when you've got one leg in some random position and it's meant to stretch you.
Random position? I don't think it was
don't know.
a particular position. It wasn't random.
You're meant to do them equally, so it was one leg followed by the other leg. But I haven't got my head around
lunges or squats?
Possibly, but I've got no coordination, so that was another difficult one.
Right.
I was better when it was just run. That was okay.
So how often were you supposed to do the strength things and the mobility stuff?
Hopefully Lee's not watching, but I think every day originally.
Yeah, every day? Whoa!
Well, that was the base part apparently.
Okay.
I didn't do those.
And then
I'm very good at giving advice to people when they come in here though, and saying that they should be doing it.
Of course.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, of course. So, not so much mobility and strengthening as you would have liked.
Definitely not.
Okay. And then how much running were you working up to? Or I mean, I have no idea what, if you taper for something like that, or you stop running,
I did taper, and the tapering probably started a little bit sooner than it should have done because I got picked up some bug over Christmas, so and then Christmas was just in the way, I suppose. And then with kids, you can't just forget about it, can you?
No, of course. So the race was on what date in January?
13th of January.
13th.
Really inconvenient.
Was it?
Yeah, what a date when you've got a shop over Christmas and kids.
You think they'd ask you? So what was your peak week? When was your peak week?
Good question. I just basically did whatever my training plan said, never looked up what mileage I did or added anything up at all, and then it was literally get out as early as I can, run, come back to make breakfast, get Isla to school, muck the horses out and get in here for opening time. So that was the main feat. So I don't actually know how many miles I did or anything.
So were you doing like 10 miles on a run or 20 miles on a run?
Yeah, and most of it seemed to be in time, I suppose. So Mondays, I know my Mondays because that was my long run day. So I think the longest I was out for was with Carol and John and Matt, and we did, I think it was about 8 hours, 8.5 hours.
Okay.
On that day, so that was my longest run
That
day.
would have been plenty of miles then.
Yeah, it was, and then it's the travelling time either side as well, and so it's a long day out. It was like a leave at 6, home at 8 sort of day.
Okay, so you're getting used to long days.
Yeah.
Too. And when would that have been? Maybe beginning of December?
No, I think that was November actually, October, November time, yeah.
So after that you were possibly tapering down?
No, I still did 5 or 6 hours, and that long one was part of a recce on the course.
Okay.
Couldn't tell you where we were. I don't have a watch with my GPS on.
and you've got your special spine watch here. So
this is my special
so everyone's really keen to know. You know, was it Sunto? Was it a Garmin? Which latest model did you have? Was it a Rolex? What was the watch that got you through the spine?
Casio. Every day. Casio. Apparently it's an F91W, but it's got a light on it.
Oh, yeah.
Which was quite important.
Oh, it's quite bright, yeah.
That light's not even on, and that's how bright it is. It's got an alarm, a chronograph or something, whatever that means.
Okay.
And if I'd fallen in water, it would be water resistant.
Oh, well, and I bet that cost you a lot of money as well.
£8.50.
£8.50, yeah. So there's the news, everyone. £8.50 watch for the spine. It's going to get you through.
Absolutely. The battery didn't go flat on this.
Did that last a week?
Right, it's lasted about 2 years.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, when you were out on the race, was there any one thing that you kind of kept thinking, "Oh, I wish I'd brought item X," or whatever it might have been? Was there anything kind of?
I don't think there was really. I think I had everything with me. I should have put my waterproof trousers on to start with though, because I got wet really quickly, and I should have put my over mitts on as soon as I started as well.
Oh, okay. And were your over mitts waterproof?
Yeah.
So did you let your gloves get wet?
Yeah. Which is silly because I get Maynard, so I should know better.
You should know better than that, really, shouldn't you?
I did give myself a telling off. for that one.
Yeah, I'm not always that sharp when it comes to rain, and I often get my shorts will get wet and my trousers will get wet, and I put my overtrousers on, but it's like too late.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it in the starting pen. I did change my gloves over to a thicker pair, but I didn't put my mitts on, which I should have done.
Okay.
So
okay. I'm going to have to keep referring to this, as we know, because I can be senior. Did you do any mental training ahead of the race? So did you do any kind of like visualisation or any of that kind of stuff before the race? I'm kind of guessing I know what the answer's going to be here. But some people do go in for it and think about it.
I know they do, yeah. I think for me, I maybe would have done if I'd had more hours in the day. But I ran out of time, and it was just trying to get to the start line in one piece and make sure I had all my kit and that the shop was looked after, horses looked after, kids looked after. And
so shop, horses, kids.
Not necessarily in that order.
No, I wasn't labelling that point at all.
Okay. Oh no.
So I know, I think I know you reasonably well. I'm kind of thinking you probably didn't even think about the whole race, but you got organised, got your kit organised, of course, and your training. But
I did get nightmares there.
Did you?
Yeah,
okay.
I did have quite a few nightmares in the weeks leading up to it.
Can you remember any of them?
Yeah, one of them specifically was I forgot my socks. Neil Ridsdale was in it, in my dream.
Oh.
It was a nightmare. Sorry,
well
Neil.
Well done, Neil.
I'd got to a checkpoint, and as I came in, my kit bag was there, and it was empty. And they'd left it out for me, but it was totally empty. And it was a really small bag that I've got. It's a bright pink bag. I know which one it is, and it's really old.
Wow.
And that was my bag, and there was nothing in it. But it made me pack my bag because of that. It made me pack my bag really early and put my socks in, because that's what I'd forgotten, the socks. That I'd gone to change them and there weren't any socks.
So kids and horses and shop aside in the build up, because when do you start on the Friday?
No, Sunday.
Start on Sunday.
Yeah,
so you start on the Sunday. So what did the 2 or 3 days before? I mean, I know your life's full of busyness, of course, but in terms of your prep.
Yeah, well,
getting stuff ready.
Yeah,
where were you in terms of backpack? Were you backpacking a week before?
Yeah, it's probably the week before, on the Sunday, the week before it. And I started.
Was it all being laid out in one room and not being touched, or
tripped over a few times, and then realised my bag was too small, and then borrowed another bag off Adrian, and it was just, I haven't got this. Who's got it that I can borrow it from?
And so were you doing that like
the week before?
The week before.
Yeah, which is quite good planning for me.
Yeah, I'm quite impressed actually. I thought you'd be like scratching around on the morning of.
Saying that, I did a bit more on the Friday night, and then I did a bit more on the Saturday. But I had left home by that point, so it was too late. It was.
And did you actually run with the actual pre-packed bag at all before the race?
No, to be fair, I don't think I did. I swapped my bag only about 2 weeks before it.
Okay.
So, but it was really pretty, so it was well worth swapping.
So, and how much did your bag weigh?
I don't know, I didn't weigh it. No idea, didn't weigh it at all.
Okay, because there'll be the more geeky people, I probably would weigh a bag.
Yeah, I don't have any scales though either.
Okay.
So. But I probably should have weighed it, because then I might have reduced things, because it did weigh a lot, and I know it weighed a lot towards the end, and I know when I saw other people's bags that they were smaller, but I was prepared for that, and that didn't overly worry me, because carrying things, I'm not too concerned about carrying a bit of
kit. Did you have a waist bag?
Yeah, I did, and I just wanted to have spare food, I suppose, close by, but I didn't overly use it.
You just carried a load of food you didn't eat?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And what food? I'm not trying to blow the cheer charge trumpet, obviously, because I wouldn't be wearing the shirt, but what food did you have? I'll be curious.
Snack wise, I had chia. Apparently I had some shares and Cadbury's too. Yorkshire tea would have been quite nice if I'd had Yorkshire tea, but as Carl Shields, he had a little thermos flask.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he share it?
He did share it, it's lovely. So
that's
something I would do for next time.
Did he share any of his peanut, because he sometimes has peanut butter sachets as well.
Oh.
Yeah, did he?
No, I didn't tell me that one.
Maybe didn't want to share, or maybe
didn't share that, but he did share the coffee, which was really nice.
That's nice. And which checkpoint was that?
Oh no, that was just en route.
En route. So a flask. Had you thought of bringing a flask?
No, I didn't really, but I wish I had done. No one had sort of told me that, and I don't think I've got one small enough to put in either. But I would definitely look at doing that again. I like warm drinks. I know not everyone does, but I'd definitely like.
Yeah, I love a warm drink.
Yeah, I like hot
I've got
drinks.
a warm drink now. So, anything that you took along that you kind of got to the end and went, I've carried that 268 miles. It's absolutely useless. I wish I hadn't brought that. Who told me to bring that? Was there anything? What did you
the
have
only
like
things
that?
I didn't use were my Catula spikes, but that was only because of the weather conditions. It wasn't that they were useless, and it was part of my kit check, so they were needed anyway. And if it had conditions like last year, they definitely would have been used.
Yeah, and so what were the conditions at different points?
It was definitely better than last year as far as snow and things was concerned, but the wind was horrendous. We had a lot of rain. Got taken off my feet a few times.
Did you?
Yeah, and lots of clag down and things. Navigation I found difficult. And what else did we have? I think it was about -15. I think they'd put up on one of the boards to say it's going to be -15.
Wow.
So it was bitter. My last night out was freezing. Really, really cold.
And were you able to keep warm?
Yeah, I kept moving, and I definitely had enough clothing on. I had my spare layer on too. I think I had 3 base layers on, 2 down jackets and a paramour over the top.
Oh my goodness.
And a neck gaiter and my hat and my gloves and my over mitts and my waterproof trousers. So I definitely weighed a bit more than normal.
Wow. Sounds like someone I know who'd wear that. So how was the navigation?
Interesting.
Did you have a map the whole time then?
Yeah, I did have my map, but because of the wind, I was trying not to use it too much because I thought it was going to blow away, and then I would have panicked that I didn't have my map. So I didn't end up using it a lot.
And did you take
I used it in my recce's more than I used it on the actual race.
Okay, do you have it in a map carrying thing
I
around
did
your neck?
a map pouch that I put it in.
Okay, and so that was, you felt confident the whole time?
No.
The right direction?
There's some places that I like to just go around a few times. So Hawes, I went round a few times. And I think it was just a nice place to see at 1:30 in the morning. What else would I be doing?
Was it especially well hidden checkpoint in Hawes?
Well, the checkpoint was quite well hidden, even though I knew where it was. And then leaving Hawes, it was quite difficult.
Hard place to leave.
How is map reading in the dark? Is that one of my questions there? Okay, interesting. So GPS, that's a bit of a novelty for me. You can see that I do technical things quite a lot. So GPS, that's an interesting concept. And when it says 0 to 1 kilometre on the scale, does that mean you're actually 1 kilometre off the track, or you're actually on the track? When they do things like that, and you're trying to look at
watch?
it. No, I didn't have a GPS watch. That's too
on
far.
On the tracker.
On my little GPS gadget thing.
And
my GPS stopped working at Hawes, which might explain why I spent so much time there. So then I knew once I got over Shelli, which I did using View Ranger on my phone. I've never used View Ranger on my phone either, but needs must when you're on your own and it's thick clag and it's 1:30 in the morning. So you learn things quite quickly. And it didn't switch off either, which I was quite impressed about.
Okay, good.
Because it's an iPhone, not a Nokia, and it stayed on, which I was quite
go.
surprised about. So I did manage to get off Shelli by myself. And then I knew the rest of it through to Tan Hill, so I didn't really need to use... I wasn't using GPS. Yeah, I was fine. And then it was daylight at 8. So then I was with John Minter and Mark. So, but I knew where I was going anyway, so it was fine. And then when I got to Middleton and was trying to load it again, it just kept taking me back to Hawes. So apparently the tracks, it had a bit of a meltdown with how many waypoints are on there. So Alec Major very kindly lent me his GPS at the checkpoint after we'd wiped it and tried to download all the track again. So I spent quite a bit of time there actually. And then he lent me his GPS, which was different to the one I'd just been using. So yeah, that was great. So then I did High Force and all of that in the dark with the new GPS.
Yeah. So did you go on the right hand side of High Force?
Left hand side.
Okay, so you crossed over,
left hand side.
crossed over the river at Middleton, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you come back out and over the river again. Yeah. But that bit was totally on my own, and all up to Cauldron Snout, and it was really windy, it was atrocious. And then over High Cup Nick was a very low moment.
Was it?
Yeah.
So what does a low moment look like then, Shelli?
I sat on the floor and cried.
Yeah? At High Cup Nick?
Yeah, it was awful. I thought I was going to die. It was awful.
Was that in the dark?
Yeah. Pitch black, and the wind was awful, and I nearly went over the edge, and I really scared myself, and then I didn't know what was the edge and what wasn't the edge, and it was just awful. I had an awful time up there.
So were you on your own at that point?
Yeah.
And it's a pretty place in the daylight.
I know. I need to go back and address my fears.
So, Jill Saunders asked, would you do it again?
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I'm never doing this again race. It was. I'm doing it again, and it wasn't so much the race that was the problem. It was the build up to it and just general life. So I thought, well, if I aim for 5 years' time, my youngest one will be 18, hopefully responsible for her own horses, driving, and if not, she'll be driving illegally because I won't be taking her. And then the shop will be a bit more established. Heather only started working with me in November, so she'll be more up to date, and people won't be coming in saying, "Is Shelli not here?" So, and Heather will be, everybody will know her as well.
So it's not a next year thing?
No, definitely not.
It's a few,
it just needs time for me. And
it's definitely on the list to return to.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, cool. How did you, I mean, you obviously had that moment at High Cup Nick where you were like, maybe
but I was never going to drop out or stop. It was just, what do I do? Right, okay, you've had a bit of a meltdown now, get yourself into gear and move on. So
what would you say to people who do have that moment where they say, oh, do you know what, I've just had enough? You know, what if, you know, there'll be people, you know, maybe watching now who have dropped out of races where they've had a really tough moment.
I've dropped out of races.
Yeah, and so have I. Yeah. And what would you say to them, you know, if they'd been sat at High Cup Nick and they were going, I'm done, I'm out of here. If there was someone coming to pick me up and rescue me, things might have been different, but but it was a case, right, there's no one coming to rescue you, you need to get yourself down and you need to get down off this trail before you get hypothermia. So that was it, and it was just get your head into gear and get a move on. There's nothing actually wrong with you, you're just a bit upset with life at the minute. So no kind of highbrow kind of meditative instruction. It's just you need to sort yourself out. Absolutely. Is that your kind of? Yeah, it is. Yeah, you just need to get on with things, don't you? Okay. So after you were doing that for 4 or 5 days, what did you know? The day after you finished, you presumably had to come over the shop or do something. I came home on the Saturday afternoon and went straight to my son's football game. And then went to A&E after that to get my foot x-rayed, and then went home and had takeaway. And then straight back to work the following week. Yeah. We were closed Sunday, Monday anyway. Tuesday back in the shop. That's normal. And I might not have looked quite normal though. Yeah. And running? When did you go for a run? When was the next run that you went for? This is a bit of a nightmare. So I've only had my first run back on Sunday, and it was 3 miles. With my daughter on the pony and all the dogs and things, and it was a bit of a run walk, and it was really quite difficult, and I'm just not back to normal. Okay. At all. Okay. Mentally, I'm slightly more stable than I was. I am. Okay. I don't see any difference with you mentally, but to be fair. So, big important question. How many? Just somebody sent us this on. I don't know if it's on Instagram or Facebook, but. How many flower clips have you got for your hair? How many different ones? That's probably about 50 or something. 50? I've got loads. Wow. That's more than for a long time. That's way more than me. Way more than me. I've got different ones for different occasions. Have you? Yeah. So how does that work? This one's like got a grip in it, so that'll stay in better if it's windy and things. But then I've got others that we clip. Okay. But I don't wear those for longer races because then they don't fit under my hat. Okay. So, and do you have different colours for different moods? Oh, different outfits. Oh, okay. So, I mean, you know, could we, is there like a code that we could like understand that, oh, Shelli's got the X colour in today, so that must mean... No, I don't think, no, they're not in moods, it is just generally on what I'm wearing. Okay. Or if I need to put a hat on and it's going to get squashed. Okay. So, just going back to the race, how did you, do you have any little tricks for passing the time? So you're out there for 100 and gazillion hours. Do you have any little things that you think about, that you talk? Do you sing any songs? No, I don't listen to music at all. So I wasn't listening to anything. I probably rationalised a lot of things that have happened in the last year because it's all been very crazy and lots of things have happened and gone on and there's been a lot to deal with and there's not really been the space or time
space or time to deal with that when you've got a business and family and things. There isn't that spare time.
You must have had a lot of time on your own, which you
and that's unheard of.
I
never have time on my own. I've got 4 dogs, and I did have 3 horses until this week, and then a cat and a rabbit, and they all need looking after, and they generally all want something. Oh, and my children. And they definitely need feeding, apparently. Apparently it's frowned upon not to give them tea.
Yeah, they can sort themselves out, can't they?
Luckily, my daughter's quite resilient, and she just says it's lucky she is.
So, no special tips for passing the time, or...
No, I think you just need to be comfortable being on your own as well, and I am comfortable on my own, and it doesn't worry me or scare me, and I spent quite a few nights on my own. I had some fun nights as well with some of the guys, but it didn't worry me. I wasn't rushing to leave with somebody else or waiting for somebody else. I just did my own thing. Self-reliant. Yeah, you have to be, and I always have been, so I'm used to being that way. So anybody who's So one of the questions, Simon Brockles has asked us a question about what advice have you got for new ultra runners? I think sometimes just be careful with your expectations. So my expectation or my ambition and things for it, my sole thing was I'm finishing it, I'm getting to the end. And I know people do like ABC goals. I don't generally set goals and things. I normally have something in mind that I want to be finished for then, but I'm not too upset if that hasn't happened. For me, I would like to have finished earlier than Friday, but I set out that I'm aiming to finish by Friday tea time. Then I'm out for 5 nights. I'd like to do quicker, but I don't want to say I'm going to finish on Wednesday or Thursday and then be demoralised when I'm then out for another 2 nights and start beating myself up, or I'm doing rubbish or anything else. It was the end's the aim. And that kind of sits with your personality, doesn't it, really? That I'm going to finish. Yeah. I'm not setting an artificial target, and that's what suits me. Yeah, it is. You. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it was. And then I think for new people as well, just don't get too het up about it. Enjoy it, and especially something like the Spine. It's hugely expensive, and all your kit and everything else you need to get, and it's just all time consuming. And for your families that are on the brunt of your training and your washing and everything else that you're doing in your time that you're away from them, you need to enjoy it. You don't want to just be out there not enjoying it. But that's kind of like life, isn't it? So it's about enjoy the journey rather than like plan to get to the destination. If you know what I mean. Yeah. Okay. So do you know how many people were watching you on the Spine? How many people were not watching? I know one person in particular who was in Thailand and was watching you. But are you any ideas how many people were watching you? I haven't got a clue, but there's been so many people coming in and saying, we don't know you, but we're watching you. And then people that were sending me the messages as well. And I've received a lot of messages from people that have gone through the same thing that I have. And I'm sorry for not having apologised, messaging everybody back. I'm working my way through. But the messages are quite heartbreaking to read, and I could only read a couple of them at a time and thinking, God, I was so emotional. That first week after it, I just cried at everything. In fact, I didn't come into work one of the days on the Thursday. I went home on the Wednesday after work, lay on the sofa, cried, had some tea, went to sleep, cried again. Oh. So it's a bit of a wreck, really. That's great that you took the time. You took the time and still taking the time to get back to people. They'll really appreciate. They will really appreciate. I've tried to respond to everybody, but I know I haven't got all the way through it, and all the things that I was tagged in on Facebook, I still haven't worked my way through all of it yet. But I'm trying. But you will. So, feet. Talk to me about feet. How are your feet? My feet are stain covered. You do not want to see this. Foot shots. Now, I saw one of your feet last week, which looked like a giant blister and took it over. It's still there. Yeah? Yeah. There was a bit of a blister on there. So that's how, and we're like a month... 5 weeks ago tomorrow. 5 weeks ago. But actually I didn't feel that one, so that wasn't even an issue. It was everything else on my feet. And did you were changing socks every period of time? Yeah, it was more... What was the, as Paul Nelson would say, what was your foot admin like? The foot admin I think was fine. It was more that I went over on my ankle on the first night. So I went over on my ankle and it really hurt. And Oriel, the Catalonian guy that was racing, he kindly picked me up. And then I limped along for a little while and sat in a bus stop and had about 10 minutes thinking my foot really hurts here, and then carried on, and then at Malham they thought there might be a break and they said to go to A&E for x-rays.
What?
So, but I'd ran on it all night by then.
Crazy talk is that?
Well, they're the medics, aren't they? So it was the right talk for them, but it was the wrong talk for me. So I just said, can I just get taped up, because I've ran on it all night anyway. So they very kindly did, and I signed my first disclaimer, and then we carried on.
Cool. And have you got any ongoing injuries? How's your ankle now, for example?
Still really sore, and now it's sort of down the side of my foot.
And have you been to it? Have you still not been to A&E?
Oh no, I went to A&E, yeah, and
after
it was
the race?
massively swollen, but they said there wasn't any breaks.
Okay.
But when I went for a massage last week, there's a bit floating in it apparently.
Ah.
But it's alright, I'm sure it'll recover, won't it? And then that's caused a few issues with my other foot.
Okay.
So, but it just means I get to wear kinesiology tape a lot.
And what about knees, hips, anything
Everything
else?
else is
Everything else is fine?
Yeah, I just need to chop my feet off and I'll be sorted.
Cool. Yeah. That's a cunning plan.
Yeah. The rest of it's alright.
So, you're back to running now, aren't you?
Well, Sunday was my first run, and the
Okay.
only run of the week. So I either need to start running again or stop eating cake. But so I think it's going to have to
and we've
start
seen the
running.
cake today. Do you want to show us?
Yeah.
You get people bring you cake nearly every week.
That's
Today you
great,
got
isn't it?
today
A special
somebody brought
cake.
you a special cake.
But I
Can we
wasn't
see
in
the?
when it came, so
Can we see the special cake?
I think it's from Berget, but
So whoever made that, can that be seen? Are we getting a good view of that?
can you see it?
So it says the Spine Race 2019, Shelli Gordon, and then there's
Hashtag Run for Tony.
Run for Tony, and then it starts in Edale, and then
All right,
snakes up to Kirkgate. How about that?
so that's my tea.
Yeah, I was like, I have been looking at it beforehand. So let me just take a second to. Did you have any to check some of these questions? Did you? Andrew asked us. Did you have any doubts about finishing it?
No.
None.
No.
So her second question is, what was it that kept you going?
Everything. There was no way I was stopping.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, there's Tony, obviously. There was the kids, the shop, myself. I've got a full week off. If I finish early, I'm going to have to be back in the shop again.
Yeah. So
what else will I do for the week?
how does it compare to like the UTMB, or you won the 200, the Hardmoors 200 the first time, which was a much, well, I guess it's a shorter event in distance, but much shorter in time, because I think you were about.
And it's the hours of daylight as well. So 200, I was out for 52 and a half hours. This is only 68 miles further. Yeah. But I was out for 128 hours in total. So it's a huge amount of time. And
so how does that come? I don't even know. How do you process all of? I don't know how you process all that. Like one's 200, one's 268. That sounds similar to me.
Yeah, it does.
Why is one taken like just over 2 days and the others took like?
That's on the conditions. The 200 is a supported race, so it's in the middle of summer, and you've got much more hours of daylight, and it's an area I know well. I didn't know the walls particularly well actually, but I knew the rest of it.
Right.
And I think even then, when things are going downhill or you're tired and things, you've got that reassurance that you know where you are and you're not double checking and doubting yourself constantly, which I was. And even on the bits that I'd recce'd, because you're moving so much slower the longer you get into the race, thinking, well, surely I should have got there. And the end of the race, I didn't know any of it, so the checkpoints, Burness didn't mean anything to me. It took me ages to find that checkpoint. There was a few of them anyway that you knew the names, but not the concept of where they were on the course. So
in terms of doing it the next time that you do it, and this might be good because you might look at it in 4 years' time to remind you. What would you do better? What would you do differently?
What would I do better?
Or what would you do differently? And is there any kit that you maybe might not have? Well, I hope we're not going to decry anybody's brand here or anything like that. But were there any kit failures that you maybe choosing that and you'd choose that next time, or you'd go off?
There weren't any massive kit failures. I took walking poles rather than my running poles that I would normally use. So the only difference was that with the clips on them, that made them awkward to slide down into the elastic holders.
Okay.
Because the clips catch. So if I'd used my normal ones, I wouldn't have had that issue. But it's just like little daft things really. It was nothing. There's nothing that I really thought that I shouldn't have taken that, or I wish I'd swapped that. And I think all my kit was fantastic.
Okay.
And then it was just me that needed to.
And have you got your kit? And have you got your kit list on the shop website anywhere, or that that may be
that'd
something
be too much like a businesswoman, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Why am I going to do something like that?
Oh, sorry, but clearly, at some point this year, you might want to.
I might get round to it.
You might want to do that, being as you've got a running shop, and people might.
I think I sell most of it. And my new pink bag, that's in now. That's in stock.
So one of the questions we got is how much running experience do you think somebody should have before they'd undertake something like the Spine?
You definitely don't want to use it as your first ultra.
Okay.
So if anyone was planning on doing that, think again. Yeah, I think you maybe need to experience winter ones, because I did the Cheviot Goat in December as well, and I've done loads of ultras. I've been doing ultras since I was 15, so I've done huge amounts of them, but even running in different areas and experiencing races on that route, and I know it's nice to go out and do a totally new route, and I know some people love the experience of the whole race is new, but I think for that distance and in those weather conditions, you're probably going to be at a mental advantage if you know a bit more about it and you've been out. So Cheviot Goat was a good warm-up, I suppose, for the Spine, because I made a load of mistakes on that I definitely should have known better, that I then didn't make on the Spine.
Okay.
So that was 6 weeks between them.
Recent winter ultra experience.
Yeah, I think it helps.
So, and what was it, 80 miles?
The Goat, 55.
Okay, big.
Yeah. But I didn't eat enough and my hands got cold and just all the things that I should know better, and fell over, lost my head torch, didn't even notice, just things like that. Just minor issues.
So big important question here from someone. Does your super watch tell you how many calories you burn?
No, but I did have my phone with me on airplane mode, and my son's nearly 21, so he does a bit more technical stuff than I do. So he had a look at it, and apparently I had, 100,000 steps or something in one of the days.
Okay.
So I thought that was alright.
That was good, not bad.
I think I got my 10,000 in it.
You got your 10,000 in. Richard Score has asked, what food did you take to eat between checkpoints? And I know I know there was
so
some
you had
flapjack.
to take food as well, so you had to have 3,000 calories of food with you.
What, on you all the time? So you had some flapjacks, you had chocolate.
Yeah, and then I had the adventure food, so just pour your hot water on it.
Okay, and so what was it? What meal did you have?
Spaghetti bolognese doesn't taste quite the same as normal spaghetti bolognese.
But did you take
Parmesan cheese?
Parmesan cheese.
That was the issue, and I forgot the pepper.
Oh my god! You know, there'd be real problems in our household if we took that bolognese and didn't take parmesan. I'd probably get slapped.
And porridge. I like porridge with milk, but porridge with water is just not the same for me.
No, but did they have milk at the checkpoints?
They probably did actually, but I ate those between checkpoints and I didn't have any milk with me.
Okay, I see.
In fact, that was an interesting. What have you got a different question there to ask me?
Have you done the UTMB?
Yeah, I've done it twice.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've dropped out for UTMB once.
Okay.
I got a heat stroke at about 60 miles in, so I got pulled out.
Okay, and how does
So
the
that was the
spine?
right decision.
How does the spine compare to that?
Definitely a lot colder.
Okay, thanks for that insight. That was stunning. But,
no, it is totally different. And I think UTMB, you've got all the experience of different countries and things as well, and it's all flagged, so you don't have to concentrate on your navigation, whereas Spine is the conditions, the navigation. Yes, it's not as mountainous as UTMB with such steep climbs, but you've still got a huge amount of climbing in it.
Lots of climbing.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's more of a war of attrition, the Spine, than
it is.
And the UTMB is you're probably a lot faster on the UTMB, I'm guessing.
Definitely.
So let me get some more questions. How did you feel crossing the finish line? These questions, by the way, come from Neil Enscat. So thanks, Neil, for gathering them up.
Crossing the finish line. That took a lot longer to get to the finish line than when I did a recce in September of the last few miles.
And how far away when you could see the finish line? How far could you see it?
No, you could sort of come round the corner. I could hear people before I could see them.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, God, where is this bloody finished? And then when they're saying touch the wall, it's lucky Carol was there. So, because I was like, which bit of the wall?
Yeah.
I'm lost right at the end. That sums it up.
And how did that feel?
getting to the end, thinking, thank God I'm not out for another night. I don't have to put my head torch back on again.
What time of day was it when you finished?
Just before 4:30. So a nice time, really. It was a nice time. Not for people finishing work on a Friday afternoon, apparently, because they were waiting for me to finish so they could then leave work. So I think I delayed a few people.
Obviously, you kept people back at work.
I have done,
who were dog watching.
Hopefully they got paid.
And who was there to meet you?
My daughter.
Okay.
But she sort of hid a bit and didn't really know where to go around the cameras and things. So yeah, my son didn't get out of work in time, so he didn't come up. And I think he was probably thinking fuel costs. Do I really want to drive to Scotland and back or not?
Fair point.
So I didn't win that one. He stayed at home. And then Lee, who's doing my coaching, obviously, and the film guys that I had with me, and then Siobhan had driven up from London, Siobhan Brennan.
Wow.
Lucy Barnes, I don't know where she escaped from, but she managed to get there too.
Lucy Barnes, if you're watching, good evening.
Yeah, and then some of the people I met along the route as well, they'd come back out as well, and it was just lovely. And some of the safety team guys and the medic teams and things, it was just lovely, really good.
So that's amazing. A couple more questions, and then we better be tying up in a few minutes, I think. Is this your longest? Is the spine? Was that your longest?
Yeah, longest.
So 268. And have you looked into doing a longer one?
Not yet, but I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have you?
I don't know. I don't know which one to do or where to go, and I think I'd like to try one abroad and do something different. But it's just on time and fitting it in.
And your favourite ultra? Well, we could probably ask you what your favourite 10k half marathon and ultra is. So there's a list of 4.
Okay, favourite 10k. Oh, I've only done a few 10ks. Middlesbrough I've done, and Mask Mermaid 10k. Have I done any others?
What about fell races? You must be some shorter fell races.
The S Valley series, I love those. I've been doing them since I was at school, so I've always done those.
S Valley.
Yeah, S Valley. Okay,
Great Fell Running Club.
Yeah.
And what about half marathon? Have you
Cambridge.
Cambridge half marathon.
I did Cambridge half marathon last year, but I was born in Cambridge and lived there till I was 10. So for me, it was like a sightseeing run. It was great. I loved it.
And is it around the town? Is it around the town?
The city. Starts in the city. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really nice. I think everybody else was on for PBs and times and things, and I was just running around and looking at Kings and Heifer's Bookshop and just remembering all the things. Thinking, God, I remember going there as a kid, and yeah, it was lovely. So that was my first one for a few years.
What about your favourite marathon? Is it a trail marathon or a road marathon?
Never done a road marathon.
Never done a road marathon?
No, not that silly.
So it's going to not be a road marathon?
No,
then?
Definitely not road. It'd probably have to be the Pathfinder. That's 25 miles, so a bit short of a marathon, but that was the first one I did when I was 13.
Okay, so that's local to here, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And it's on this...
Yeah, we're putting it on. We're putting it on this
year.
You're
putting it on. When is it? In September? October.
Yeah.
And have you capped how many people can go?
No, I don't know whether we have actually. 150 probably.
Okay.
Something like that.
So entries open now?
Yes.
SI entries, Pathfinder, get your entry in. John and Shirley, we're not plugging the Hardmoors because you've got shitloads of people entering it anyway, so you'll forgive me and you'll give me... John will probably punch me when he sees me next, so that's fine. So, then your favourite ultra race?
Okay. I don't know, they're all different. I've loved UTMB. I love the experience of being out there and completing it and running through Chamonix with all the music and sounds and everybody. It's just unbelievable, fantastic. I love the 200. I love the 160, and I think I love the 160 when I beat everyone. But then I was running thinking someone's going to come past me, and then so I spent probably half the race thinking I was being chased down. So that wasn't so pleasant. It's much nicer when you're not thinking about that and stressing about it. And love the 110. I've done 110 3 times. Hardmoors 110, and my third time was fantastic. That was definitely my best one out of those. Yeah.
And is your best run your favourite run now?
Or... I don't know. I still don't know which one's favourite, and I love the Lightquake as well.
The Lightquake,
I've done the Lightquake hundreds of times.
Yeah,
it has to.
So entries for that are open as well.
Yeah.
Run by really good guys from Quakers Club in Darlington.
Yeah, I think I just keep going back to some of the same races because I have such a nice time on them, and that for me, if you get the chance to go running, I want to enjoy myself. I want to have a nice time.
Okay, a couple more questions then. The guys who were filming you on the spine,
Yeah.
Where is that film being edited? Is it
It's
out
in the
now?
process of being edited at the moment.
Okay, so
And it's hopefully going to some film festivals.
okay, so
Howdy.
we don't know when we can see it. But
No, not
hopefully-
yet. We'll put something out there.
Okay,
when
so
it's
let
done.
people know. What's next for you? And
Hopefully getting past 3 miles.
3 miles, yeah. Have you got any Hardmoors races booked in?
I haven't booked any of them in.
No? Okay.
Which is a bit unusual for me.
Yeah, because it's 200 year, isn't
I
it?
know.
Hardmoors 200 year as well, and the 110 will be on at the
Yeah.
same time.
And then Bob Graham.
Yeah, so
that
what about
Bob Graham
Graham?
has been on my hit list for a long time actually.
Yeah.
And I've done some of the legs in support of other people.
Have you?
Yeah,
Ah.
but I've still not done all of it.
Okay.
And I don't think I know it well enough yet.
But it's on your
Definitely
not
on the
this
to-do
year,
list.
but it's on the
Yeah,
to-do
it
list.
is on the to-do list.
Cool.
It has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah. Right, I'm going to ask if there's any more questions.
Post-spine treats. Must just be seeing the kids. Seeing the kids, having
seeing
a cup
the
of tea.
kids. Oh yeah.
It is, yeah. And then having so long being away from them and things as well. And then Isla was at the end, and I didn't know whether she'd get to come or not. So yeah,
Well, that would have been special, wouldn't it?
it was, yeah.
We like to see Isla. Okay, so I'm going to wind it up. I'm going to ask the guys behind the cameras if they've got anything more for us. They're dithering a bit. So just to remind everyone, we're going to put a comment in the comments. We're going to put the Just Giving thing in the comments. So
28,000.
give us your money, and it's £28,290.
It's a bit more than that because I've got some offline donations to pay into.
So people, hands in your pockets. Come on, payday in the next few days anyway. Put some more money in that, and Shelli, thanks ever so much for opening up tonight. Really appreciate it. It's our first Facebook Live, so it's slightly exciting.
It's mine too.
For us, and hopefully we haven't screwed it up, so that'll be quite good too. And people, if you want to let us know what you think, if you want us to do another one, or if you ever want us, any other runners you want us to talk to that we know.
Hopefully I haven't wrecked it for you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. But keep commenting and we'll keep talking to you. Cheers all.
Thank you.